Well, what did you learn tonight? What was spoken about tonight?
So we talked about a few different ideas tonight. So we talked about the concept of truth. So is there, for example, an objective reality, an objective truth that we can all strive towards learning about, or is there only subjective truths? Are all our perspectives truly independent?
I was thinking about that recently in terms of flat Earth theory. I end up speaking to a lot of flat earthers for some reason, and I don't think the Earth is flat, but in a way, if all you can perceive it as is flat, then in your reality, I guess it is. And we don't. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a kind of a truth to that, isn't there? In a way.
Even
does it matter?
And secondly, does it matter?
I think it does. I think
that one in particular, or truth in general?
In general, I want to be learning about an objective truth. So I'm at least I like the idea of it.
Okay.
There is a point to where it's not useful or valuable to necessarily know the objective.
I only caught the end of the discussion, but what was being said about colours and colours not being objectively different?
Well, we were talking actually about language, and how some studies have shown that if your native language doesn't have certain words for certain things or concepts or objects, it's very difficult for you to perceive those things. And then that was extended to a social scenario whereby it is alleged that men who might have less conversations or interactions with concepts of colour actually can perceive less colour shades than women, because socially we don't maybe go shopping in the same way.
But you were saying that's social rather than genetic. Well, might it not be the genetic difference between men and women that makes them see things differently?
We didn't talk about that, but it's absolutely a possibility,
I remember the black dress, or was it a blue dress? Remember?
Oh, yeah, that one, yeah.
People crazy. Interesting. Yeah. Another thing that's doing the rounds at the moment, or was until recently, was everyone descending on Area 51.
Oh, really?
Have you not heard about that?
I've not actually heard about that.
There's a group online. Layla is trying to call me. I presume you're watching the live stream, Layla. Stop calling me and contribute via the text on the screen, as I think I sent it to her. There's a group of people, 1 million or so, who are all going to descend on Area 51 at the same time to try and find the truth out about the aliens.
Okay.
Truth is out there, or in there.
Wow.
I like the idea of that, but
a sort of crowd truth.
Yeah, they can't stop us all. But then again, the conspiracy theorist in me says, well, if that's on the internet and everyone is following it, it will be there for a reason. These crazes that take off. What about having your face as an old man? I know we're getting off topic now, but I'm getting internet trend. Have you done that one yet?
Yes, I've seen my face as an old man.
Oh, what?
But
someone did it against your will?
Someone did it. Well, I don't know about against my will. I'm not going to. Yeah.
My God.
It's an accusation, but yes, my old man face.
Okay.
I have seen it. I'm not sure if other people have seen it.
Well,
I was fairly happy with it, actually.
You're going to age gracefully.
It seems to be the case.
Thank God for that.
Because that is a truth. And
that is a truth.
Yeah. So you are a conspiracy.
I'm a big conspiracy. I believe them all. Apart from flat Earth and Elvis still alive. I believe.
So Elvis is dead. To confirm.
Jordan M is saying Ed Sheeran. Okay. Who's the handsome alpha male next to you? That's from Colin Alloy. Hey Zed. Yo Colin, what's good? Oh, I'm trying to keep up with the comments. Yeah, all right. People are talking amongst themselves. Goodfella is saying hi. Have you got that one before, Ed Sheeran? Maybe it's the camera. I don't know.
Oh, I'm supposed to be Ed Sheeran.
I don't know, or me, but as they're familiar with me, I guess it would be the glasses. But he's not ginger. unless you're seeing
I'm
colours.
actually very
different.
flattered to be
Well,
compared with a
Ed Sheeran should be flattered.
musician.
Yeah, he's not ginger unless the camera is playing trick. Jordan M is saying gingers are destined to join us, reverts, mashallah. I wonder, is that the real Jordan M? I don't know. Do you guys consider Britain's seizure of an Iranian tanker at sea to be an act of piracy? I'd have to find out more about it.
Yeah, I don't know enough about that.
And that's a good point in terms of truth. When something happens in the Middle East or abroad, and we only get one side of the story, how do we know? How do we know what's going on in Syria or Iran or America? It's always better. I think you need to check multiple sources.
Yeah, and then you can have the question about, are those sources trustworthy? Are they biased?
Yeah.
To what extent are they biased?
Yeah.
I mean, there's an argument that says that all media, or all mass media, is biased.
Yeah. One story doing the rounds at the minute is what's happening in China. You've spent time in China, right?
I have, yeah. I was in China for about 6 months.
In Speaker's Corner on Sunday, there was a chap standing up saying that 3 million Muslims are in concentration camps in China. And that is what's being reported in the Western media. As someone who's been to China, do you feel like that could be happening? Are you sceptical? What do you think?
I mean, that's a huge number.
It's a huge number.
It's a huge number.
And it must be much more complicated than they're rounding up Muslims and putting them in concentration camps. From what I understand, they're trying to educate people to be atheist, which is the state religion or no religion out there.
So, possibly.
Yeah.
My
Sorry to spring it on you. I know you've not been in China for a while, but
my
you know the country better.
The Chinese government, to my understanding, is so afraid of the concept of God or atheism.
Okay.
What they are terrified of is a power base that isn't the Communist Party.
Okay.
So organised religion, more so than a particular belief in God or not, is what they are challenged by. And 3 million people is a huge number. But do I think it's possible that the Chinese government is seeking to re-educate Muslims? I think it's absolutely possible.
Yeah.
Is it that number? I don't know. But
No, I don't know. The guy was speaking very passionately. Jordan M, who's in the comments there, he saw it and was very touched by it. He said, "You've got to respect somebody standing up for other people." Camille is saying China number one. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, back to the concept of truth. What's your favourite conspiracy theory?
I'm a big fan of the moon landing conspiracy, not necessarily because I believe it, but I've investigated it quite a lot, and I'm a huge kind of universe science geek actually.
Okay.
So I'm really interested in that one, just from a personal perspective.
Come join us, man.
But
we're live streaming and discussing what happened tonight. Talking about truth.
You'd have a lot to say, I think. So
come and sit down, man, please. We're going to welcome Parsa to the table. I'm going to re-angle this, and can we all fit in?
Yeah, a bit more.
Parsa, would you
just
put
lean in
that
a
on?
little bit.
If I do that, it'll catch you. It'll catch me. Let me put it there. How do we know the truth? How can we find the truth? Jump in a little bit.
Well, I mean, there were different opinions. Are you asking my opinion, or are you asking what everyone else?
No, I want your opinion.
Well, I guess the truth is that what you perceive.
Okay.
I mean, it's the reality that you're on a live show right now, because you can see and you can hear that you're on it, regardless of what you're thinking.
How do I know I'm not dreaming?
Well, you can see that you're dreaming at least. fine, it's a dream or it's an illusion or whatever, but at least the sensation is there.
So is reality just perception?
Yeah, I would say so.
Because I was in a gym one time and a man was massaging me. And he laid his hands on me and he told me that he could do this kind of chi type energy, or as they call it in Japanese, ki, apparently. So he put it in my mind that you might feel a energy coming out, a bit of heat. I don't believe in this hocus pocus whatsoever, but he put it in my mind, and then I thought I'm going to burst into flames. I could feel the heat literally coming out of his hands. Now, perhaps that was only in my mind, but reality is in the mind anyway. When I see you, I'm not actually seeing you. The light is just bouncing off you, going into my retina, blah, 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 hitting my brain and giving me a picture of you. So, in a way, does it matter what's real?
Depends on what you want to do, really. I mean, if you're just in life for the ride, you love your parents, you love your partner. Doesn't matter whether they're a dream illusion or whether they're really a solid, rigid piece of flesh and bone. I guess the experience still stays.
Experience.
So you love your family, blah 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 blah, blah, and it doesn't matter. What if? Would it matter if someone murdered? Sorry, this is going to be an awful example, but if someone murdered someone you love and replaced them with a clone, and you would never know, and in terms of your experience, everything would be absolutely the same.
Well, until I found out.
Would it matter? But you're never going to find out.
Well, I mean, if I never know, nothing's going to really change for me, is there?
Okay. And what if that clone believed that they were that person as well?
But what does that have to do with me?
I'm saying if your perception is the same, does it matter if they're real or not?
Well, that's what I said. You're still going to have the same experience, and you're still going to have the same sensations. So it's like when you rest your head at night and then you have a pleasant dream.
Yeah.
And then you wake up and you realize it was all a dream, but you still enjoyed the pleasant dream. And the next time you go to bed, you'd rather have a pleasant dream than not have anything.
So, what makes dreams not real then?
I never said dreams are not real.
Are there, if a dream is as real an experience as reality, then who's to say it's not just as important?
Well, it could be. I guess it depends on how you approach it. It could be. Because, again, every time if you're having constant nightmares, the next time you go to bed, you just really wish that you didn't have to go to bed right now, because you just know what's going to happen, regardless of how unreal it is.
Yeah. We don't know what dream is. It's a strange... someone else checking the comments saying they will take over by making 9/11 inside job. When China invaded Tibet, they killed over 1.2 million. Hello, can you highlight this point? Excuse my friend, can you look at my last 3 messages? Why are you giving partial view on Xinjiang?
Have you actually, can I congratulate you?
Yeah, I graduated yesterday.
Oh, yesterday? Oh, fantastic.
Are we connected on Facebook or anything?
Probably not. Colin Alloy is saying, where are you and who are these people? Are they your family members? No, I'm just at a little bit of a discussion. There's people coming and going. I'm trying to keep up with the comments are not scrolling, so I'm having to continually scroll. In regard to Xinjiang province, I have to be impartial. I don't know what's happening in China. I'm looking to get comments and opinions from people that are in China or who have been to China. All I have to go on is what I've been told. Goodfella is saying scroll up. Okay. Goodfella said when China invaded Tibet, they killed over 1.2 million people. Okay. I don't know that. What is your source for that? a good fella, you'll have to tell me. And when it comes to finding out what the truth is, I think the least we can do is ask people where did they get their sources, what did they find out. A good fella, can you just type it again, please? I can't scroll all night long. You coming back in, Thompson? Come back. You're welcome back in. Yeah, welcome back in on the panel. There's a guy in here called Goodfella who has made a comment about China, and I think is questioning my logic. Look, I'm not pro-China. 33X is selling. Tell the people around you to shut up or do one. It's the message above that one. Goodfella, this message better be worth it. Right. Goodfella said. Goodfella said, do you guys consider Britain's seizure of an Iranian tanker at sea to be an act of piracy? Yeah, personally I do, but don't ask me. I need to look into it. I'm just biased because I hate the West. Right, I don't really, that's a joke. Who's the doctor next to you? Look, we've had Ed Sheeran, we've had Doctor. This is Thompson and Thompson. I'll let him speak for himself.
I'm no doctor.
He's not a doctor after that line. Right, good fella, you're banned. I've had enough. And even a good fella can write a love letter. It's a great from a great artist who is in the panel. Rizzo, if he's you're skillfully evading. Good fella, just write it again. If you want me to answer it, I will answer it, but write it again. There's an artist in the panel called Rizzo who will hopefully be joining me at Speaker's Corner, and there he is. You want to portray propaganda about Xinjiang. Okay. Xinjiang province is the Muslim majority area of Western China. And I'm not espousing propaganda because I don't know enough about it. All I know is a gentleman in the park on Sunday was saying there are 3 million Muslims in concentration camps, as he put it, and he was comparing it to being the worst humanitarian disaster since the Holocaust with a capital H, and being of a Jewish background himself, he felt quite emotional about it. Good fella is saying those camps exist in Tibet. Okay, Tibet is another one, and the Dalai Lama, who is in exile, and prior to the Chinese Revolution, from what I understand, the Dalai Lama was keeping people as slaves, and the Chinese Revolution freed them from that. Tibetan Buddhism, yeah. But good fella, you clearly know more than me, so please share your knowledge in the comments or send me an email, lessonsforlife247@gmail.com, and we'll get you on to talk about it. Tibetan Buddhism is persecuted as well. We're talking about Tibetan Buddhism. We've got an expert here who's too shy to come on the camera. Mike, see you again soon, I hope. The best people never want to come on camera. That's my experience. I have, but you don't want to read it. I won't. I'm going to see you here. Yeah. Lovely to see you. Good fella, I'll read anything you put in the comments, so don't worry. Do you know much about Tibet, Thompson?
I really don't. I didn't visit Tibet when I was in China.
What was China like, and how long were you there for?
I was there for about 6 months, on and off. Okay. And I was primarily based in Nanjing, which is a very big city, the former capital city, in fact, before Beijing was the capital. Yeah. It was wonderful. It was fantastic. In some ways, every country has challenges and good points. And what I loved about China was the energy, the ability to build things on a scale and at a speed that's unimaginable in this country. Buildings would go up almost, skyscrapers would go up overnight. Things were getting built. There was a tremendous pace to the life that people were leading, and the people were incredibly friendly and open and welcoming to me.
Okay.
There was no fear or hatred of the stranger.
And were you one of very few foreigners there?
There wasn't too many foreigners in Nanjing. I wouldn't say none. They did have a university. They did have some foreign students, but many people came up to me and said, "Oh, we don't see many white people.
Many of your type.
Yeah, we'd like to practice English or whatever." So there were also some, there are some challenges, undoubted challenges over there as well. So
Yeah, look, nowhere is perfect. I was talking last time in the park to someone of Chinese heritage, and I was saying, is it the case that the Han ethnicity is the dominant ethnicity in China?
to my knowledge,
Okay, so they,
yes.
would
To
you
my knowledge, but I'm,
And would you recognise a Han from a different ethnic Chinese person? Would you be familiar enough to be able to tell the difference?
I think I would be able to tell that somebody is not a Han,
Okay.
but whether that means they're from Western China,
Yeah.
Western China, or perhaps even further west, perhaps into Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, or maybe north into
further
Mongolia.
west you get,
that's harder to. Yeah, the further
more
west, the more.
Muslim that they are, right? Or the more.
Sure, but ethnically they look kind of what you would expect, a mixture of Chinese and kind of Russian or Middle Eastern to look like.
Yeah. Central Asian people.
Yeah, Central Asia,
Okay.
exactly, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The CCP equally persecute Han Chinese people. Okay, so Goodfella is saying that Han Chinese don't have, that they're also persecuted. I guess he's against the Chinese government. Rizzo is saying maybe Pakistan should play a part in this. Yes, I think Pakistan will be big players in the forthcoming years on the international scene. And 33X is saying 10 million Chinese Muslims. Why didn't I know this? I think there might be more than 10 million. I could be wrong. But apparently 3 million of them are in concentration camps.
I believe that there are more. If you took the population Chinese Muslims, it would be more than some countries in total.
Yeah. It's the same with India. The second largest Muslim population is in India, even though they're only 10%. It's because it's such a large country. All right. More questions about China. And Crimes of Britain is mentioning the Hui people. Okay, that's only among the Hui people. Yeah, look, China is so big. It's amazing that it's all one country. I would have thought there must be other regions that want to be independent. What about media out there? How easy is it to get on the internet? How easy is it to watch YouTube?
Yeah, I mean,
you have to get away around it.
You do have to get away around it. There is the great firewall of China. That's very real. There are ways around it, but typically the government are clued up on those ways and will look to shut you down.
Yeah. Okay. Similar.
It's kind of a constant battle, I think, to find ways out, and then the government try to shut it down.
Yeah. Crimes of Britain is saying fake news about China destroying the 13th century Korea mosque has been shared widely. Turned out to be false. Okay. Guy Ballantyne is saying firewall this. Welcome, Guy. He knows where we are. He could have been here tonight. Muslims persecuted everywhere. Why though? Do you think Muslims are persecuted everywhere, Thompson, or is everyone persecuted everywhere? Are Muslims having it disproportionately hard at the moment?
Gosh, I don't know. That's a difficult question. I don't know enough about all the persecutions that happen. I mean, certainly that it's in the news.
Yeah.
We have the Rohingya Muslims being persecuted in
Muslims in China, Muslims in
Myanmar.
Myanmar.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure there are many groups being ethnic groups being persecuted.
Palestine, India, Kashmir, Afghanistan. Yeah, and not all those people are Muslim, but I think Islam is common in poor countries. Just geographically, the Middle East and the surrounding area has been attacked, has been pillaged, has been hit by imperialism, and you will suffer as a result, and the Christian people in those countries are also suffering. Crimes of Britain is saying China clamps down on all groups it considers subversive, so Falun Gong, so-called democracy advocates, Uyghurs. It's nothing new, and re-education camps have always been used in China since Mao. Okay.
I would. Listen, I'm not an expert on I'm just telling you my experience for 6 months, but that I think I would agree with. That it's not about being a Muslim necessarily. It's about the ability for a group of people to try to go against the government in an organised way. That is what they don't like.
Well, Goodfellow is saying there are over 60 million Christians in China who are not allowed to have churches. When their churches get bulldozed, they bury Christians alive with the CCP persecutions.
I haven't heard about the burying alive, but certainly I've heard of churches being shut down. And it's the same. It's the same rationale. A church has an ability to gather people together against the government.
I think there is a risk, and I'm tiptoeing around it. People like myself who are very critical of Western imperialism and critical of America can fall into the trap of thinking America bad, therefore China good. They might just both be bad, or there might be bad things about both of them and good things about them. So we're trying to avoid that. Crimes of Britain saying Christian churches would be considered potential subversive places. Goodfellow saying, good point, Pat. 20 years ago, there was hundreds of millions of Falun Gong and native Chinese religion. Today, there are less than a few thousand. See how do I not know that? If that's going on, are we that unaware? Is China just keeping things quiet by blocking the internet?
Well, I don't think it's only blocking the internet. I don't think that's...
No, not only
they have
that,
tremendous control over mass media publications in China. They have essentially spies or Communist Party members in every level of organisation, in the court system, so the ability to suppress news is unprecedented, I would say.
The chap in the park who was talking about this, I said, why is this not worldwide news? And he said it's because China have paid them off. So money talks. Guy Ballantyne is saying, what is Falun Gong about? I think that's an ethnic group in China. And Goodfellow said they used to imprison them, Falun Gong, and take their organs. Yeah, you hear about organ harvesting. Falun Gong is saying, Goodfellow is saying Falun Gong was a native Chinese religion. Have they really exterminated a religion in China? This is the thing when it comes to finding out the truth, which was the original topic. You need to have a source, and it is terrifying. If it's true, it is terrifying. But I need to know why. Or how you know that. Crimes of Britain is saying in reality all states clamp down on dissidents and subversive groupings, just some are more brutal and overt with it than others. Yeah, I would agree. Goodfellow is saying research it, my friend. Thank you for calling me a friend, and you're not patronising me. Big word there, patronising. Okay. Yeah, research it, but I could espouse anything and then say, research it. I think it's important to have a few sources.
And on that topic as well, when people come to me and say, maybe this happened, or maybe the moon landings were fake, for example, it's one I'm interested in. I will say, well, give me a credible alternative. So if it was faked, tell me how it was done.
How what was done?
For example, if the moon landings were faked, explain to me how it was done. Explain to me how you would keep enough people quiet. Explain to me how the technology was. Whatever it is, we're not going to go into that necessarily. So the same thing could apply. We don't know. We're saying we don't know if Falun Gong has been obliterated in China. We don't know, but we're very willing to. I think you're saying you're very willing to hear.
Yeah, and I will go away and Google it, but I do think it is a bit of a cop out to just say, by the way, this such and such is happening. Really, where's your evidence? You Google it. You do the homework. But I will have a look. Just on the on the moon landing topic, all I'll say is whether the moon landing happened or not, and I think it probably did, the video looks very fake. And you could go there and still make a fake video. Maybe they faked it because they had to beat the Russians and they still went there. I don't know, but the video looks really, really fake. It looks like a bunch of guys running around in the desert, played at half speed. No one's jumping 6 feet, 7 feet in the air, which you would be able to in 1/3 gravity. But I don't know.
I mean, one of the things that I mean, I don't know about that specific claim. I haven't looked at that one.
Well, that's my gripe with it. Not they faked it, this and that. It just looks like a fake video to me. That doesn't mean they didn't go to the moon.
I mean, I was on a forum the other day actually, and somebody said, well, one of the pictures looks really fake. If you play around with it in Photoshop, it doesn't behave how you'd expect.
Yeah.
And it was pointed out, yes, but that's an internet copy of a reel with compression, and it's been shared maybe how many times, and maybe someone else has played with it in between. So that's the only thing I would say to you is, do you really know the source of that video that you're looking at?
Well,
and is it compressed for the internet, and has it been edited?
I'm just going on the height that they are jumping. I've never seen.
Okay, purely on that. Okay,
that is my big alarm bell. But yeah, who knows? And I couldn't put money on it either way. Goodfellow is saying you didn't do any homework on Xinjiang, but it really to tell Muslims they should feel bad about it. Did you see how that appears? I'll have to read that again to let that sink in. But he's saying I didn't do my homework. You didn't do any homework on Xinjiang, but it ready to tell Muslims they should feel bad about it. What I should tell Muslims they should feel bad about China? I don't think
I suppose
not
that.
making sense. But do you know what he,
that good is care more about the Muslims than we do about these other groups that potentially also
maybe
being persecuted.
that might be what he's saying. Look, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, and whatever cause you pick up and want to defend or raise awareness for, people can always say, "What about this? What about this? What about this?" I get it all the time. Why do you care about Palestine? Why do you care about Palestine? And I would say, why do you not care? Do you consider Xinjiang to be a part of China or not? I'm not sure if that's a question.
Xinjiang province.
Xinjiang province, yeah. I mean, I do, but it's for the Chinese to say, isn't it? Do I consider it a part
and
of
the
China?
international authorities to decide what the border is.
Yeah. The CCP, which is the Chinese Communist Party, is currently attacking the democratic culture of Hong Kong. The whole of Hong Kong is in a yellow vest type revolt. The CCP equally persecuted democracy. Okay. And
Yes, I think more on the theme that there are other groups being persecuted, and I would agree with that. You know, broadly, I don't know about the Hong Kong situation, but certainly Christians have been persecuted in China. Anybody who's if you're anti-government in any way, you're likely to be a target in China. That's very well known.
No questions asked. And Crimes of Britain is saying, as Mao said, no investigation, no right to speak.
Haven't heard that. Don't know about it.
Famous quote. Yeah, I think it comes back to this idea that we shouldn't just defend one, not the other. You've got to call out wrong wherever you see it. And yeah, China are not perfect. I think it's good to have balance in the world. I don't feel comfortable with there being only one superpower, whether it's America or China, because then they could just dominate and do whatever they want. I think it's good that we have these countries to keep each other in check, but we can criticise all of them when they do wrong, and there's probably no doubt that China is doing wrong to the Muslims in that country. Okay, Goodfellow saying, now my final point. The Chinese Communist Party equally persecuted everyone, but you seem only to want to portray it as Muslims are being persecuted. There is a big push right now in the media to make Muslims hate China. And Abdullah A is saying, hello, Lessons for Life. Who is that? It's not Ginger.
It's still Ginger.
I think I need a new camera, unless what we said about colour is coming true. Okay, so just to address the point from Goodfellow is who is saying, you seem to only want to portray it as Muslims being persecuted. I don't really. If that's the way it's come across, perhaps I've not done it justice. I'm trying to make the point that, yes, there are things wrong with the Chinese government, and maybe it annoys some people who have been critical of the Chinese government all along, that now it's only coming to light because of the Muslim case. That's the only point I can glean from that. But yeah, if you will mistreat a Muslim minority, I'm sure you would mistreat any other minority. And the Jewish chap in the park was making the point that never again. It happened to the Jews under Nazism. It's happening to Muslims. It is no doubt happening to other ethnic groups, ethno-religious groups in China. And Goodfellow saying this coincides with China's rise and their alliance with many Muslim nations. Okay, so yeah, if China is aligning itself with Muslim countries, for example, I think they have a good relationship with Pakistan, they have a good relationship with Iran, and these countries that are sort of part of the non-aligned movement or the opposition to America, why then would now be a good time to gang up on the Muslims? And Crimes of Britain is mentioning that that's a very good point that Goodfellow made. And also says, as for the organ harvesting claims, it is my understanding if a person commits a crime that's so bad he has to be executed, then taking his organs to benefit society is just practical. Goodfellow is saying, I'm not saying the Chinese Communist Party is nice. What I'm saying is this is a Western psyop type campaign to drive a wedge between China and Muslims. Okay, right. So he's saying just when things are good between Muslims and the Chinese, people are pushing this idea that China is against the Muslims. All right, I finally understood what he's saying. Could be. Who knows?
Not sure.
Thomas, I'm going to hand it over to you for closing comments.
Final word.
This was meant to be about finding out the truth, and it's been all about China, but that's the way things go sometimes. What was the best point from tonight, do you think? Forget about China.
The best point from tonight,
from the discussion.
Investigation, the truth. That I think one point I liked was that it takes work to investigate truth. It's not going to come easy. So you've got to put energy and effort into actually investigating. You've got to try and put aside your biases and your prejudices and your culture even sometimes, and that's really difficult. It takes a lot of self-reflection. So finding the truth is hard. That's my final word.
It's a good point to end on. I would just add, I think it's a process. It's not an event. A lot of religious people, not saying I've not said you are, but some people say, right, I found out the truth. That's it. They put their feet up. Have to ongoing. When you find whatever you think the truth is, get a deeper understanding of it, and then go deeper.
Challenge it.
Deeper. Thank you. Thompson, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
You have done it on camera.
Thank you so much.
And we'll do it all again soon.
See you soon.
Thank you for tuning in. We were here, and we're gone. Latest.